hating on you with their friends, girl, you got it.
Hey y'all, so today I have this look I call my signature glam, and if you want to see how I got this look, just keep on watching. So of course I'm going to start off with a clean face, and I've already got her swatches on for her foundation on her chin. Then I'm going to go ahead and put her eyebrows into place with some dual lash glue. I'm going to put some on both her eyebrows and grab my spoolie and then brush her eyebrows into place. After I have her eyebrows into a good shape that I want, I'm just going to go through and tap down on her eyebrows so that way they're in place and they won't move. I'm going to start filling in her brows with my Absolute Brow Pencil in the shade Smoke. I'm just going to start by filling in the tail part of her eyebrows, and then I'm going to do the top part of the tail, and then I'm going to shade it in on the inside. I love this pencil because I can go really light or I can go really dark depending on the shade of their hair. If your clients or your models have blonde hair, try not to do their eyebrows too dark. Since I did want her eyebrows to be a little bit darker, I'm going to ombre them by using this Juvia's Place brow pencil. This is a lot lighter than the smoke pencil I used before. It's a really light brown shade, which is what you want to use when people have blonde hair and they're light skinned. To conceal under her eyebrows, I'm going to use Warm Beige and Butterscotch from Too Faced. Warm Beige is the lighter shade I'm going to use underneath her arch, and Butterscotch is the shade I'm going to use for the front part of her eyebrows. I really try to take my time when I'm doing the eyebrows. I don't always have to rush. We don't always have to rush to get the eyebrows done in one stroke. Sometimes it just doesn't work like that. The eyebrows are usually the first things people see on your face, so you want to take your time to perfect them. I'm going to go ahead and blend out the concealer around the edges just because I don't know how long it's going to take me to do the brows, so I don't want it to dry down to where I can't blend it out. And for now, we can just assume I'm doing the same thing on both sides until I show y'all both sides. I am going to switch my camera angle so that way y'all can see both sides at the same time. Now I'm going to take my Too Faced concealer in the shade Butterscotch, and I'm just going to conceal the front part of her eyebrows. I am going to drag this shade a little bit over the Warm Beige shade just so it's easier to blend out, and then I'm going to use this as a base for her eyeshadow. I'm going to take this Real Technique Dew brush and I'm just going to tap this concealer all over her lid. I'm going to start by using the darker color and then blending it into the lighter color just because that looks better at the end for me. And I'm only doing 1 to 2 eyeshadows in their neutral shade, so it just works out. So right here, y'all can see what I was talking about when I said take your time to do your eyebrows. Right here, y'all can see these eyebrows clearly do not match, but I'm going to keep trying to match up my eyebrows. I'm going to step back so I can look at both eyebrows at the same time, and I'm just going to keep concealing until I get that perfect shape. Then once you get the shape you want, go ahead and do the same thing you did to the other side and take your Real Technique Dew brush and just blend out that concealer, starting with the dark concealer and then the lighter concealer. When I blend my concealer, I make sure I go to the front part of the eyebrow, and I also go a little bit down where I will put the nose contour just so I can make sure this concealer is the base for everything. When your concealer is blended out all the way to your liking, go ahead and take a taper brush and some translucent powder. I use Dermablend. I just really like the formula. And I'm just going to take this over her concealer so that way it's matte. It's going to be easy to blend our shadows later on. For eyeshadow, my signature glam is super simple. So we're going to start off by taking this bronzer color. And this is from the Juvia's Place bronze palette. It's either tan or medium. Whichever one of the two is darker, that's the one I used. I'm mainly going to put this color all over the eyelid, and then I'm going to take it like in the front of the eyebrows down the nose where I would do the nose contour. Then I'm going to take a slightly darker shade, and I'm just going to keep this in her crease. Doing this is going to make it look like I have a bunch of eyeshadows on when I really only have 2. The brown I'm using is from Sugar Baby Cosmetics. And I know it's the brown at the bottom row of the palette. Yeah, I don't know what's up with me, but when I do wing liner on people who have lash extensions, it takes me forever. I be trying so hard not to get the liner on their lash extensions. It just takes a long time. But I'm going to take my time and it's going to be perfect at the end. I'm just going to do the end of my liner, like the part going up to her eyebrows, and then I go do the front and connect it. After I have a good shape on the outside, like a really good outline, I just go in and fill in the inside of the liner. When I got the right eye to a good shape, I went ahead and did the left eye. I did it the same exact way I did the right eye. I did the right eye a little bit shorter than I did the left, so I'm just going to go through and fix it, and then I'm going to go back later on and like shape it up with my concealer. After the liner is the shape I want, I'm going to go ahead with my skin prep, and I'm going to use this moisturizer just to put on her face. This is a jelly moisturizer from Clinique. When that is all into her skin, I'm going to add some moisturizer by Embeleze, and I'm just going to dot this around her face and then smooth it in with my fingers. I'm sorry, brush out. I use the brush for this moisturizer, so I smooth it around her face with the brush. For primer, we're going to use the e.l.f. Hydro Jelly, and I'm just going to put this around her face and smooth that in with the brush as well. For her foundation, I use Tahoe with just a little bit of Macao from NARS. For her contour, I'm going to be using Black Opal Foundation Stick in the shade Suede Mocha. I'm going to take some of that contour shade on a flat brush, and I'm just going to put that around her forehead. I like to blend my contour with my foundation sometimes, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on her forehead. I'm going to carve out the top of her eyebrows with this concealer from Too Faced in the shade Butterscotch. When your eyebrows are the shape that you want, just go ahead and blend out the excess concealer around the edges. That way it's easier to blend when you put your foundation on. I'm going to take her foundation and place it all around her face before I go and blend it out. The later the foundation sits a little bit, it's going to build up the coverage. Y'all know I'm a Shein advocate, so this is a foundation brush I got from Shein. I'm just going to tap all around her face to blend out her foundation, making sure I get around the edges, behind her ears, and really up close on her nose. I'm going to take my Too Faced concealer and place this everywhere I want to highlight her face. I'm going to do triangles underneath her eyes. I'm also going to use this shade on the bridge of her nose, on her forehead, and her chin area. For a little bit of extra brightness, but not too much brightness, I'm going to add warm beige underneath her eyes. I could have gone a little bit brighter, but I really didn't want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this under her eyes. Next, I'm going to take an Instapot brush and I'm just going to blend out the edges of that concealer that I put, just to blend that into the foundation so everything comes together nice and seamlessly. I'm going to lightly tap over this as well. You don't want to press down too hard so you're not moving the foundation around too much. Taking the same brush I used to blend out the concealer on her eyebrows, I'm just going to tap up and down her nose and blend out the concealer I put on the bridge. For her nose contour, I wanted to go a little bit lighter than the suede mocha I put on her face, so I chose to do Beautiful Bronze, and I just did 2 lines on each side of her nose. For her cheek contour, I did go back in with suede mocha, and I'm just going to apply this to her cheekbone. Next, I'm going to tap over that contour shade just to blend it down and get those cheeks snatched. I don't know about y'all, but as an MUA, I love when my clients go to sleep. I always tell my clients, if you want to go to sleep, go ahead and do it. Take a nap, wake up, your makeup will be done. That way, at least I know your face is rested, and the most I have to deal with is their head bobbing. I am completely in love with this Rare Beauty blush. This is their liquid blush. I forgot what shade, but I am obsessed with it. I use it literally on probably every single one of my clients, dark skin, light skin. I use this on her skin, and I use the same blush on my skin. It's literally universal, and I love it. It's the perfect pink. Now, I don't remember where I got this brush from. This is either an Ulta brush or a Sonia Kostic brush, but I'm pretty sure it's an Ulta brush. And when I tell y'all that blend, baby, chef's kiss. Now I'm going to take this Real Technique brush and I'm just going to go up and down her nose until I get the perfect nose shape. I'm going to keep going back and forth. Like, my objective is to get her nose super skinny, so that is exactly what I'm doing here, and I'm just going to keep blending until I get that. I actually add a little bit more contour on my brush as needed. I always want to make it easy on myself, so I'm going to go through and blend a little bit of that concealer into that nose contour, so that way when I go through with my powder puff, it makes it more seamlessly and I don't have to blend as long. Next, y'all already know I'm going to go in with my triangle powder puff. I love my triangle powder puff because it blends out like a beauty blender, but it doesn't pick up all that extra product. So the product stays on your face and you get a nice full coverage. I'm just going to tap over my concealer up until her lashes. She actually does have bottom lashes, so I'm just going to tap right underneath them. If you don't know about now, I am a Dermablend girly. I love Dermablend. I swear by Dermablend. As you can see, I just lightly tapped some Dermablend on her face, and you can tell it is set. Look at the left side from the right side. It is completely different. This is honestly probably one of my favorite parts of doing makeup, just because it is so satisfying to watch something set, from it to go to shiny to matte. Now I'm going to take my powder puff and go up and down her nose, and I'm just going to bake her nose with this Dermablend. I'm also going to take that Dermablend translucent powder, and I'm going to set everywhere I highlighted her face. So along with under her eyes and her nose, I'm going to pat this and set her forehead. I'm also going to set her chin and right above her lip. To set the rest of her face, I'm going to go ahead and use my Anastasia powder in the shade Deep Peach. I'm going to take this fluffy brush I also got from Shein. I told y'all I love Shein. They need to go ahead and sponsor me. To bake her face, I'm also going to take my Dermablend translucent powder. I'm just going to take a little bit on my powder puff and then tap it off so that way it's all even on my powder puff. And then I start closest to her nose and work my way to the outer part of her face. Baking, of course, is not required, but I like to add it so that way it can have a little bit of more brightness under the face, and it really, really, really covers up those bags under your eyes. To start to contour her face, we're going to use my Juvia's Place bronzer, and I always use my Juvia's Place bronzer as contour and not as bronzer. I go through and add a bronzer after. I'm pretty sure for bronzer, I use ColourPop Pacific Sand for her bronzer. I'm pretty sure. I love using it on this skin tone. For blush, I'm going to use my Area K blush palette. I love this palette down. Y'all can find her tagged in some of my Instagram videos, so just go look for her Instagram video and tell her Shunti sent y'all. She told me she wanted her cheeks to be really pink, so I made sure I took that light pink and then the bright pink on the bottom row of her palette, and I used both of those together to mix the perfect blush. I go through with the same brush I did the contour and the bronzer just to make sure the blush is blended all the way together. You want to treat the bronzer, the contour, and the blush just like eyeshadow on your eyelids. Make sure it's completely blended and go back and forth between brushes until it is. Then I'm going to reverse contour with my Dermablend powder. I'm just going to do like a line underneath where I put her contour. I'm going to add some white liner to her waterline, making sure we're protecting her bottom lashes. I'm using a white Jumbo NYX pencil. Then I'm going to take the same eyeshadow we used on the eyelid from my Juvia's Place Coffee Shop palette and a smudger brush, and I'm just going to be real careful so that way I don't take any of her bottom lashes out, and I'm going to go across her bottom line. And let me tell y'all something, when my clients tell me I can record, better believe I'm finna get some content in. I'm gonna get all the content I can. So for me, the best way for me to line my client's lip and to be precise is to have them press their lips together and to tell them to keep it that way for a while until I tell them to untuck them. I just go ahead and line the bottom of their lips, and then I line the top, and then I'll ask them to untuck their lips so that way I can do some blending. Pretty sure I took a Juvia's Place lipstick and mixed it with a little bit of white concealer from Too Faced, and I applied this on her lips, and then I told her to tap her lips together. This is going to naturally blend out the lips where it needs to be. Sorry, this is going to naturally blend out the lipstick to where it needs to be. After the lipstick and lip liner are blended together, I just go through with a disposable lip brush and I blend them together some more. We do not like to see the hard line on your liner. That is not cute. Take care of that, mama. And I'm going to apply some clear lip gloss over the liner. This is the OG lip gloss from the hair store. Y'all already know. Her lip gloss, I'm using the shade Pure from Blue Rouge Cosmetics. I love this lip gloss. Y'all make sure when y'all shop, y'all use the code SLAYBABE, and I'll make sure I put the website in the description. I had her tap her lips together after the lip gloss. I'm just going to go through and blend it exactly the way I did for the lipstick and the lip liner. You do not want to see a super line of demarcation. It's time to dust off that powder. I'm going to take the same taper brush I used to set her eyelids with this powder, and I'm just going to tap the powder away. I'm sort of tapping the powder into her skin and tapping it away at the same time. I like to tap because I'm still blending as I'm going. Usually I do not powder contour the nose. I kind of grew out of that, but I really wanted to snatch her nose a little bit, so I applied the same color I did for the contour on her eyelid the first time. Is that lighter color in the Juvia's Place bronzer palette. It's pretty much the same thing I used all over her face. Didn't want her nose to stand out too much, so I made sure that I used a color that was closer to her skin tone. As y'all know, I'm gonna set her face with the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, and I spray a lot of setting spray. Just tell your clients or you not to inhale. This is the same brush I blended out her nose contour with. I'm just blending out around the edges where I had that tape. Then I'm going to press the spray into the powder into her skin. This is like chef's kiss for me. It's a must-have. You have to do this in your routine. Honestly, the setting spray will sit on top of the little hairs all over your face, so you want to press it in. Now, a part of my signature glam is rhinestones. Rhinestones are included, and y'all know I love me to add a little touch of rhinestone. I'm going to take my Duo Lash Glue. This is actually the lavender one, but it's still that stick that I like, so that way I can easily put it on the face. Just going to do dots everywhere I want to put the rhinestones. Now, applying rhinestones are fairly easy because most of the time they give you a tool to apply the rhinestones on with, but you can get this same tool off Amazon. Just look for like a rhinestone placement or something. If you look it up and search it, I'm sure it'll come up some options. I just put the rhinestones on, and sometimes I press the rhinestones in just to make sure they're not coming off. But these rhinestones not going nowhere, trust me. For the rhinestones under the eyes, I have my clients look straight at me so I can see where the placement is going to be for the bottom rhinestones. If you have your clients look up while you put your glue in your rhinestones might be too close to their lashes, or it might be in that little crease under their eyes to where it makes it hard to see the rhinestones. So you want to place it so where you can see the rhinestones looking straight at your client. The rhinestones I'm placing on the bottom are at least like 1 to 2 sizes bigger than the ones I put on her eyelid, just because I want them to stand out a little bit more. To finish off this look, I'm going to take my Juvia's Place highlighter, and I'm going to highlight her nose, the bridge of her nose, in between her eyebrows, and I think that's it because she had the rhinestones. I didn't want to put any underneath her brow bone. And the last thing I'm going to do, well, one of the last things, because I am going to spray her face again, I'm going to clean off her lash extensions. When your clients have lash extensions, please clean them off. I actually hate using makeup wipes. Prefer to use micellar water and disposable lip brushes, but I actually didn't have either of those after I finished her lips. So we're just going to go in with the same makeup wipes I used to clean her face off. After about 8 minutes of actually cleaning off her lash extensions and her bottom lash extensions, we are finally done. I just went through and pressed her face in again, and she loved it. I was obsessed. I'm still obsessed. Y'all tell me how y'all like this look in the comments. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media at I am Shunti Slays. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.